So let us start the class. Greetings of the day. On this day, in this class, we are going to learn the basics and the implementation of functions. So first of all, let us see the structure of programming. What do you mean by the structure of programming? Now, we'll be having the flow of controlling program, which is as simple as it is. We'll be having a top-down design where the execution of the program starts from line 1 till line n in a top-down approach. So we are going to call the moving of the execution in a program from top to bottom or from the beginning of the line of execution to the end of the line is called as top-down design. Now, what do you mean by that? We are going to keep decomposing, also known as factoring, means we are going to divide a problem into smaller problems until we have collection of small problems that you can easily solve. Now, what we are going to do in top-down design, we are going to decompose, divide a huge problem into a small pieces called as subprograms, or it is also called as modules. That's why we are going to call C as a modular programming language also. So we'll be having modules or subprograms or functions, all are same. It may be called as a function or a subprogram or a module. That's why we are going to call it as a modular programming. Now, what we are going to do in top-down design inside functions, that is, we'll be having C programs consist of collection of user-defined functions. What do you mean by a user-defined function? Now, before this, let us see what exactly the functions are meant for. Now we are going to have, if we have implementation of functions, functions means what? We'll be having a huge program. That program is further divided into subprograms or modules. We are going to take a problem. That problem will be classified or divided into multiple subproblems such that it cannot be further divided or it can be easily answered, is called as a function. A function is a group of statements. A function is a group of statements. What it does, it performs a specific task. A function may be taking some parameters or arguments as input, and it may return or it may not return a value, is called as a function. A function is also called as a module or a sequence of code that is written for a specific task. A function is written for a specific task. If you are having functions in a program, what is the advantage of it? We'll be having the complexity will be reduced. If we are having a single function in a program, we may be having a complex approach. In that case, the program will not be that much easy to identify the bugs, the errors. If you are having small pieces of code called as function, we can easily fix the function wherever there is a mistake. For example, we want to perform addition separately, multiplication separately, division separately. Now, if the answer is not correct, we can go to directly to that particular function called as add and we can do the task. So before that, let us see what all the advantages a function will have. So a function is also called as a module. A function is also called as a module, or it is also called as modular programming. Is the font visible?
Yes, sir, visible.
Yeah, good, great. Now, let me increase a little bit of font. First, we are going to see the theory aspects, then we are going to write the programs. You need not worry at all. So, what is a function? A function is a group of statements that are divided such that it performs a specific task. Now, it may be also called as modules, or it may be called as modular programming. Everything is same. What does a function does? A function reduces the complexity of a program. A function reduces the complexity of a program. Now, if you have a single function for everything, then it is not easily understandable by the developer to fix it when there arises a problem. When there is a problem, the developer may not be easily capable of fixing the error. If you are having functions, then we can easily identify in which function the bug is there. Next one, if you write the functions, the second important aspect is reusability. You can simply copy paste that particular function, or you can include that particular program which is having functions as a header file into the program. So now what do you mean by header file? A header file is a file which is having a pre-compiled program, which is having a pre-compiled program. Already it is compiled. Now, second important thing, a header file will not have a main function in it. A header file will not have a main function in it. Now, if you want to reuse the functions, you can save that particular program as a header file and you can reuse it, or you can also copy and paste that particular function into the program which requires it. So like this, we can reuse the function. Now, if you don't have functions, you have to write the code in a sequence. If you may have, in that case, you may also have duplicate lines of code. Now, wherever duplicate lines of code is there, just copy and paste it into a function and reuse that function as many number of times you require it. As many number of times you require it. For example, let us see one example. I'll show you this dev. Just a second. Yeah. I hope you can see the dev screen now. Let us
Yes,
take.
sir.
Yeah, is it visible?
Visible,
Yes, sir.
sir.
Very good. So let us see one example without a function, how you are going to do that, and with a you are going to do that, etc. Where we are going to have the concept of reusability. So this is what we will get whenever we open a dev environment. So first thing, I want to print addition of two numbers. That is what I want to do. So what I'm going to do, printf. So let us write, take two variables, integer a comma b, say a value is 10 and b value is 20. For example, I'm having value a as 10 and value b as 20. I want to print the addition of these two numbers. So what I'm going to do, simply I'm going to write percentile d comma a plus b. So next thing, what I want to do is I want to again print the addition of two other numbers. Say, let us write here 30 comma 40. Then I want to print again the addition of two numbers, that is 30 plus 40. Then I want to write 100 plus 20. Like this, I am having some set of statements which I want to calculate the addition part. And I want to print every time in a new line. Say /n I'm going to use to print the output in a new line. So like this, I want to print some addition parts in my program. Are we duplicating any text here? Do we have any similar kind of lines of code? Suppose these many number of lines of code is there. Now, here what we are doing in this particular line, in this line we are printing a plus b. In this line we are printing 30 plus 40. In this line we are doing 100 plus 20. So in all these cases, what we are doing over here is we are adding two numbers. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are adding two numbers, two integer values, in other words. So can we reduce the code? Now this is one simple example, but we want to reuse the code. Are we reusing anything here? No, we are simply writing. We are simply writing the code to print addition. Suppose we want to do some other task like enter a value, then scanf, add, enter two values, scanf, add, enter two values, scanf, add. That is also duplicate code. So what we want to do here, instead of initializing, okay, let us see how the reusability concept comes. So instead of writing printf a comma b, what we are going to do is, before this we are going to write a function called as integer add. What is this? I'll explain later. Integer x comma integer y. So we are getting two parameters. Then what we are going to do here is, instead of writing a plus b, we can write add a comma b. Then same thing, this single line is going to, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because I'm getting unstable internet. If I'm out of it, please let me know. My class gets disturbed, please let me know.
Okay, sir.
So like this we are going to write the code. So 100, something like this. So what happens exactly over here? Now if you concentrate, what is going to happen here is, we are having a function. This particular integer is called as return type. So this particular integer is called as a return type. Then what about this add? Add is the name of the function. Then we are having integer x comma integer y. Now let us see what all these things. First one, we are having something called as integer. Now this particular integer is a return type. Now what may be return type? We may be returning integer sometimes, we may be returning float value sometimes, we may be returning a character sometimes, and sometimes we may not return anything. So here we can return only one value. That is a important point. How many values we can return from a function? Only one value we can return from a function. So what value it may be? It may be a integer, or it may be a character, or it may be some float or some other structure variable. We'll see what are the structures in forthcoming classes. Class. So integer or character or float or any other type of the variable. Okay, we will be having many different types. We will be studying that in our forthcoming classes. So first point, integer is going to, this called as a return type. In the example, we may be having integer. If you want to return an integer value, you are going to write integer. If you want to return a character, you are going to write a character. If you want to return a float, you are going to write a float. If you don't want to return anything, you are going to write void. Void means the function is not going to return anything. For example, I'll show. Integer add integer x comma y. Now as of now, first point what we have seen is, what is this return type? The return type specifies that the function is going to return a value and the data type of it is integer. If the data type of the return value is float, instead of writing integer here, write float. If you are returning a character, instead of writing integer, you can write a char there. If you don't want to return anything, simply write void over there. So next one, what is this add? This add is the name of a function. What is it? It is name of a function. In other words, it is also called as a identifier. Whatever the rules that are there related to a variable also have the same rules for naming a function. Like a function name cannot start with a number. A variable name cannot start with a number. A variable can have a underscore in it. A function can also have a underscore in it. A function can have alphabets A to Z or numbers 0 to 9 or a underscore, provided that the starting character is a alphabet. Is the naming convention rules of functions as well as for variable. The same rules apply here. A variable name should not have a space. A function name should not have a space in it. If you want to have a space, you can have a underscore symbol. The name in naming convention, uppercase letters are different and lowercase letters are different with respect to a variable name. In similar fashion, for the function, uppercase letters and lowercase letters are different. I hope you understood. So this is regarding the name of the function or an identifier of the function. Now next one, here we are having integer x comma integer y. So here we are passing two variables a comma b. Then we are passing 30 comma 40. Then we are passing 100 comma 40. So this is the example, or you can say 400. 100 comma 400. So 400 is an integer value, 40 is an integer value, 30 is an integer value, 100 is an integer value. If you see what is the data type of A data type is also integer, B data type is also integer. Then whatever the type of the value that is passed to the function, that type you are supposed to write here. The data type of the value that is passed to a function, the same type you have to write over here. Then followed by the name of the variable, integer y, data type, followed by the variable. Now, whatever the value a is there will be copied into x, the value of b will be copied into y. For the next execution, in this line, value 30 will be copied in x. Next time, the value 40 will be copied into y. In the next statement, 100 will be copied into x and 400 will be copied into y. So this particular function will be executed thrice. This particular function will be executed thrice. Now whenever we execute this printf statement, now here we are having add a comma b. What is add? Add is the name of the function. Somebody raised a hand, you can ask. Somebody raised the hand. Who is that? Someone is having a doubt, you can ask. I'm waiting to hear you. Unmute yourself and you can ask. Okay, let us move on. So, is there any doubt in this particular code? This is called as function definition. This is called as function definition, where we are going to define the function. This is the place where we are going to define the function. What is that function? That function is going to return something after its execution. The data type of that particular return value is integer, and the name of the function is add. Throughout the program, wherever you call add, that particular function will be executed, and we have to pass two inputs to that function called as integer x, integer y. Now here these integer x and integer y are called as integer x comma integer y are called as parameters. Integer x and integer y are called as parameters. How many parameters are there? Two parameters are there. So one is integer x. The first value sent to the function will be stored in x, and the second value will be stored in y. Second important thing, the memory that is allocated to this particular function is different, and the memory allocated for main is different. The memory that is allocated for add function is different, and the memory allocated for main is different. I'll show
So parameter spelling.
Yeah.
Parameter spelling.
Yeah. Thank you. Just a second. Parameters. Oh, thank you. So integer x is called as parameter 1, integer y is called as parameter 2. So first value that is passed to the function will be stored in x. Second value that is passed to the function will be stored in y. So what exactly happens when we have this particular line of code? I'll explain. Just let us concentrate on the next one. So here we are having a printf statement and here we are having add a comma b. Whenever it encounters add, then in parenthesis a comma b. So whenever, just a second, whenever we have add, then parenthesis, then maybe 10 comma 20, or you may have a comma b, or you may have nothing in it. Then something after that, if you are having parenthesis, then it is called as a function call. We are calling to a function. The code is calling to a function. That function is having some code which has to be executed. Yes, that code is called as a function call. So one thing that is add, you may have arguments or not. Okay. So in this example, what we just said is so in this example, we are calling x and y as parameters. Integer x and integer y are called as parameters. And integer is return type, add is the name of the function, integer x comma integer y is parameters. And now here we are writing a return statement. Return statement is the last statement in the function. After that, you won't have any execution part. Even if you write any statement after this, it doesn't make any sense. Printf in double quotes, I am in function. That is what it is going to say. And inside the main, I'm not going to declare anything over here. I'm going to simply write the name of the function add, and I don't want to write integer x comma integer y. Let us reduce the burden over heads. So what we are going to write here is integer, no integer. Let us see first case, that is void. So add, that's it. Nothing is there. Now here add is called as function call. So here add, the execution of a program starts from main, then it encounters something called as add. Add means direct, it is going to check above the main. Do we have a function called as add? Yes, here we have a function called as add. Do we have a return type? Yes, integer. Do we have a return type here? Nothing. So you need to change this to please mute yourself. Now, add is the name of the function call. Whenever it encounters a function call, it is going to cross check above. Now here we got void, means that function is not going to return anything. Then we got add, there is a match, add, there is a match. Then it performs printf, I am in function. That's it, return 0. Now let us execute this program and see what is the output. So we got the output here, I am in function. I am in function. Now let us change the code. before printf, that is inside the main, let us write in printf double quote slash n, I am in main function, semicolon, then let us write add, then let us write I am back to main function. So in between we are having a function called as add. Now inside this function we are going to write here slash n. So this is a small program. So this particular part is called as function definition, and this particular part is called as call, function call. So in other words, this particular function is called as calling function. So in other words, this particular function is called as calling function. If it is, then what is this called as? This is called as a called function. Function definition, as well as it is also called as a called function. Just terminology, which is called as calling function, which one is called as called function. So first the execution starts at main. After this it is going to execute I am in main function, then it encounters a function call. After this the cursor goes to the function call, then it matches the prototype, then it executes I am in function. Once it encounters closing flower bracket, it returns to the next line. Then it executes I am back to main function, return 0. That's it, that stops the execution. Let us execute. See, I am in main function. So first line that we got executed is this one, I am in main function. So this line got executed, I am in main function. So here we got the same thing, I am in main function. After that, the compiler executed add. The compiler executed add. So add is the function call. Add is the function call. So simply the cursor jumps to the above main, checks, do we have a function called as add? Yes, we have a function called as add. Then it starts executing the add function. So it executes printf I am in function. So here we got the second statement called as I am in function. After this, it is going to execute the closing flower bracket. Once the closing flower bracket is executed, it goes to the next statement after the function call. Here we have function call. After this, it goes to the next statement. What is the next statement? I am back to main function. So we got here, I am back to main function. I hope you understood. So how we are going to get executed all this stuff? So first thing, the execution of main starts first, then it executes I am in main function, then it executes step 3, that is function call. Here we have function call. So first thing is it executes main. After that it executes printf. After that it executes add. Once it encounters adds, the cursor jumps to add function. Then it executes the lines of code inside the function. Once it encounters the closing flower bracket, it goes to the printf, the next statement after the function call. Then it stops execution when it encounters the main's closing flower bracket. Is there any doubt here?
No, sir.
Very good. Now we are going to deal with the concept of function reusability. Now what do you mean by reusability? Now in this code we are going to call I am in function, that is void add only once. We are calling the add function only once. Now what we are going to do is we want to call that function for n number of times. So how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times we are calling the function. Whenever it encounters add, it goes to the function and executes the lines of code. Then once it returns, go to the next line, again executes the function, again goes to the next line, again executes the function, again goes to the next line. This process continues. What we are doing, we are reusing this function. We are reusing this particular function. Let us execute and see what is the output. So we'll be having 6 times I am in function. Okay. Now in that code, if we write accept two values and print the addition, what happens in that case? So what I'm going to do, I want to declare two variables, integer a comma b, then printf, oh, then printf double quote slash n, enter two values, then scanf %d two values, so 2% d's ampersand a comma ampersand b, then write a semicolon, then write printf slash n sum is equal to %d comma a plus b. What we are doing here, simply we are asking, we are declaring two variables, integer a comma b, enter two values, and scanf we are using, then we are printing addition. After this, it is going to return back to main function these many number of times. Let us reduce this number of times. So we are sticking with thrice. 3 times we are calling the function. So every time we are going to accept two values and print the addition. So let us cross check the code. So here in this case, we are reusing this code for 3 times. We are reusing the code. So let us execute. So enter two values 10, 20, we got sum is equal to 30. Again it is asking enter two values 200, 300, we got sum as 500. Again it is asking enter two values 1, 2, we are getting sum as 3. Then I am back to main function. So 3 times we are reusing the code. Is this understandable? Are you getting the concept? So first thing, this is called as called function or function definition. Called function or function definition. Void means it returns nothing. And the name of the function is add. Here we are asking two values. We are printing the addition of those two values. We are printing the addition of those two values. So this particular function is called 3 times here. If you write 10 times, the function will be reused 10 times. If you write 100 times, that function will be reused for 100 times. So this concept of is called as reusability. So we are going to reduce the complexity by using functions. We are reusing the functions, then makes the process of debugging easier. What is the another advantage of functions? It is going to make the process of debugging easier. If you are having an error, you can directly go to that function, change the code, you'll be getting the output. If you are having a single function throughout the program, then identifying the bug will not be an easy task. You may be having 1000 lines of code, maybe 1 lakh line of code may be also there. If you write functions, you are going to divide that into small pieces. So in other words, by using functions, you are going to implement the concept of divide and conquer. This is the best technique inside the program for using functions. Why you are going to use the functions? To divide and conquer an issue. Whenever you are having a problem, you are going to divide the problems into sub-problems. Then you are going to add them, and finally you are going to merge them. For example, suppose you are having one big problem. Let me take one example. Now, suppose you are having a problem. Now, this problem will be divided into 2 sub-problems or maybe n sub-problems. Then each and every sub-problem, just a second, this is one sub-problem, another one, maybe another one, maybe another one. So what you're going to do? Here you're going to say a problem. Now that problem will be divided into, just a second, sub-problem 1, Then maybe the next one is subproblem 2. Then subproblem 3, followed by subproblem 4. So like this, you are going to divide a huge problem into pieces of problems. So in one example, you want to find the area of graphics, graphical shapes. So one thing, you may be calculating the area of a square, you may be sometime you may be calculating area of a triangle, area of a cube, area of something else. Like this, you are going to divide the problem into sub problems. Then after that, what you are going to do, you are going to integrate, club, merge. You are going to merge. So next one is integrate or merge. Merge. So here you are going to merge all the problems. Just a second. That subproblems are again converted back to a single solution. So subproblems are again integrated, and finally you are going to get one solution. So this is called as divide and conquer approach. One big problem is further divided into sub-problems and then integrated, and finally you are going to get one solution. Is this clear? So this is how you are going to implement functions. For every independent task, a sub-problem is divided. That sub-problem will have a separate function. Everything will have a separate function. For example, you are having a problem called as arithmetic operations. You want to calculate arithmetic operations. In a function, what you are going to do first? You may be performing addition in one function. So can we call it as add? The next one may be called as sub. The next one may be called as multiply. The next one may be called as divide. So like this, you are going to divide a problem into functions, separate functions, and then integrate them and get the solution. This is how you are going to do divide and conquer for a given problem. Is this clear? It is clear. Then.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for responding. Now we are having some types of functions. What are the types of functions that we have? One is called as a user-defined function, and another one is called as a predefined function. Predefined functions are those functions which are already written and given by the developer of the software, like Dev, Turbo C, etc., GCC, etc. The compiler developer is going to give you some predefined code. For example, you are having printf. Maybe you are having something called as scanf. Are this predefined? Yes. Or maybe you are having POW function to calculate power. Maybe you are having a SQRT function for calculating square root, etc. Now, what are these functions? These functions are called as predefined functions. These functions are already provided by the developer of the compiler. In order to use these predefined functions, we need to include the header files. For example, these particular functions are available in something called as stdio.h. These two are available in stdio.h, a header file called as stdio.h. What about these two functions? These are available in math.h header file. Maybe some other functions are there which are available in some other header files like stdlib.h, conio.h, etc. As per our requirement, we are going to use those header files which are having predefined functions. A predefined function is a function which is having the code which is pre-compiled and ready to use. I hope it is understood. Predefined functions we have, that is for example printf, scanf, power, square root, maybe sine, cos, tan, aw, yeah, etc. Now let us get back to the other type of function, that is user defined function. Now user defined functions are those functions that are written by us, a developer. So what it need to have, a user defined function must have a name and a return type. It must have a return type, it must have a name. These are compulsory, and the optional one is parameters. Now, what do you mean by function name? The same rules are applicable for function name, whichever are applicable for a variable name. Like the function name should not have spaces, the function name should not be rewritten. For example, if you declare a variable called as a, you cannot redeclare a variable called as a throughout the program. In the similar fashion, we cannot have two function names with a common name. You can have capital letters, you can have small case letters, etc. By that you can accommodate if you have such a requirement where two functions are going to share same name. But two functions should not have same name. Like this we are having rules. The next one is return type. Already we have seen this return type concept. That a return type is the type of the data type, like it may be an integer, or it may be a character, or it may be a float, it may be double, it may be any other data type. If nothing you are going to return, you can write void. So this is regarding return type. So types of functions are mainly prescribed, that is two. One is called as a predefined function and another one is called as a user defined function. Predefined function and user defined functions. Any doubts here?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Good. So the next one is, we are having three aspects in functions. First one is function declaration. Second one is called as a function call. Third one is called as a function definition. We already seen function definition, function call. Now, in a program, if you write something like this, main, you can write integer main, nothing inside that. Then you are going to write something called as add, semicolon, that's it. Then return 0. What happens now? Now the compiler starts its execution from main. The execution starts from main. So here the execution starts main. After this, it is going to find the function called as add. Once it encounters function called as add, so what is this called as? This part is called as function call. Add is the name of a function and we have parentheses after that, then it is called as a function call. Function call. Now, whenever it encounters the function call, the cursor is going to cross check, or the compiler is going to cross check above main. Once it encounters add, it goes above main and searches for add. Do we have add? No. If we don't have add, then it is going to generate an error saying that the function definition is not available. So one thing, what we need to do here is we need to write add. Do you have any return type? Nothing. So you're going to write void add. Then after that, you are having open flower bracket and closed flower bracket. Then in this, you can write some statements. Some statements. Now, what happens? It encounters add, then it simply goes up and checks for add. Do we have add? Yes. Does whether the return value is void? Yes. Do we have anything here? Nothing is returning. So there is a match. Now this is called as a function call. No, this is called as a function definition. This is called as a function definition, and this one is called as a function call. Now, before main, you are supposed to write the function definition. Now, there may be a situation that you don't know what you are supposed to write. There may be a situation that the definition of the function is not known. Only what you know is the name of the function. The name of the function. So what, in some cases, what you are going to do, in that case, you are going to write the function after main, because we don't know what is to be defined in that function. So simply we are going to write the name of the function and the body of the function. So this particular part is also called as the body of the function. You may write this particular body of the function after the function call function. So here main is called as calling function, add is called as the called function. Calling function and called function. Now the execution starts at main. After that it encounters add. Once it encounters add, simply the compiler is going to check before main. Do we have the function? No, we don't have function definition above the main. So in this case, you can write the prototype of function, saying that, dear compiler, I'll be writing the definition of the function after main. Please check under the main. So here you're going to write void add opening closing brackets semicolon. So this is called as function prototype. So this is called as function prototype. What is function prototype? Function prototype specifies to the compiler, dear compiler, check the definition of the function after main. The code is written after main. That is what we are specifying to the compiler. Now this is called as function prototype. If you write the function definition above main, prototype is not required. If you write this function definition above main, function prototype is not required. If you want to write the definition of the function after main, you need to write the prototype. You need to write the prototype. Now what else prototype will be having? Suppose we are having one more function called as sub. I want to subtract two numbers 10, 5. So this is also called as a function call, right? Yes. How to write function prototype? For function definition, what you're going to write? Simply you're going to write, just copy this line sub. After main, you're going to write void sub. Let us copy paste what is there, sub 10, 5. So here you're going to write integer a, then this 5 will be copied into integer b. So integer a will be having value 5 in it, because here we are having value 10 in the first value, that is 10. So here in the parameter a, 10 will be stored. The next one is 5. So here we are going to store in integer b 5. 5 will be copied into b, 10 will be copied into a, in the sequence manner which is having in the function call. First the value 10 is there, so 10 value will be copied into a. And second we are having value 5. 5 will be copied into b. In the same sequence the values are copied. Now here we are having function definition. Simply copy this line, write above main and keep a semicolon. So this is also called as function prototype. What the function prototype says? Function prototype says to the compiler, search the definition of the function after main. If you write the definition of the main function above main, you don't need function prototype. Is this clear? So finally, we'll be having three things in a function. One is called as function declaration or prototype. Function declaration or prototype. Then we will be having function call. Then we will be having function definition. So this one is called as function declaration or function prototype. Both are same. Then here we are having function call. These two are called as function calls. Then these two are called as function definitions. These two are called as function definitions. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, let us move further. We are having two types of function parameters. One is called as actual parameter. Another one is called as formal parameter. Actual parameter and formal parameter. Now, which one is called as actual parameters? This 10 and 5 are called as actual parameters. So 10, 5 are called as actual parameters. What about this one? These two are called as integer A, comma integer B are called as formal parameters. Formal parameters. Understood? Actual parameters are the parameters that are available in function call. Inside the function call, if you have parameters, then it is called as actual parameters. Inside the function definition you are having, these are called as formal parameters. Okay? So this is terminology. Next important thing, in the function prototype, you may write the variables or you may avoid it also. Integer comma integer is also going to work inside the prototype. But inside the function definition, you need to write the variable name. You need to write the variable name. Is this clear?
Okay, sir. It's clear.
So this is the terminology. What exactly we will be having? One is we will be having a function call, a function prototype or function definition, a function declaration. You will be having function definition. Three things: calling function, called function. Okay, actual parameters, formal parameters. This is the theory related to functions, and we are having 4 types of functions. What is the first one? Function without return type and without parameters. So this is the first one. Now second one, function with the return type and without parameters. This is second one. So we are having permutation and combinations, return type, parameters. No return type, no parameters. Return type without parameters. No return type with parameters. With return type with parameters. So 4 permutations we are going to get. So for that sake, we will be having 4 types of functions. Broadly speaking, 2 types of functions are there: predefined functions and built-in functions. Predefined functions and user-defined functions. Now coming to the function types, when we write the code, we are having 4 types: function without return value and without parameters, function with return value, return type and without parameters, function without return type and with the parameters, and the last one is function with the return type and with parameters. With return type and with parameters. Now let us see the execution part of these 4 kinds of functions. Okay, I'll show you one after another how to write this code. Function without return type and without parameters is the first one. Let us write print addition of 2 numbers. Let us make the example very simpler to understand. So let me copy the first type. Get back to def. Where is def? Yeah. So let us go to file, new. Is the screen visible? Project, console, C project. Okay. So first one is writing the comment, function without return type and without parameters. Then we don't want these parameters inside the main. When time comes, I'll explain what are they. So first thing is function without return type and with parameters. So what we are going to do is printf No, we are going to directly write add, nothing inside that semicolon. So this particular thing is called as the function call. We are calling a function called as add. So here we can write void add. This is function prototype, function declaration or prototype. So this one is called as function call. And this is void add, not no semicolon after this is called as function definition. So we want to add two numbers. So in order to add two numbers, we need to have two numbers, integer a comma b. Then printf /n, enter two values, scanf %d comma ampersand a ampersand b. Because we are accepting two values, we need to have here two %ds. Then after this, printf /n sum is equal to %d comma a plus b. So this is the function, this is the program which is having function without return type and without parameters. If you don't have return type, write void. If you don't have parameters, just simply open and close the parenthesis. Open and close the parenthesis. Then main is the starting point of execution. It is going to find add. Simply cursor goes above the main, checks the prototype or declaration here and comes to the function, executes the function and return back to the calling function called as main. SUM, thank you. Some spelling wrong, thank you. Yeah, sum is equal to %d a comma b. So this is how you are going to write the program without using arguments, without a return type. Let us execute and see. What happened? Yeah, closing.
Brackets.
Yeah. Thank you. So execute. Enter two values 20, 30, sum is equal to 50. So we got the correct output 20, 30, sum is 50. So this program is working fine. So this one is the function without return type and without parameters. Is there any doubt in the program?
Sir, in this we can use if while.
Yeah. You can use anything. You can use loops, you can use conditional statement. Just I am giving one example how to use functions. Suppose you are writing matrix addition. You can write a separate function for printing the matrix, for a separate function for taking the inputs, matrix input and printing, etc. One function read matrix, one function for print matrix, one function for add matrix, multiply matrices, divide matrices, etc. Like this you can write the code. This is just an example. Okay. Do you have WhatsApp group? Are you a member of WhatsApp group, everyone?
No, sir, we are from F1.
No, sir. No, sir.
No. All are from F1, right?
Yes, sir.
So I'll create a WhatsApp group and share, but I'm not a part of F1 group. Once somebody adds me into the group, I'll post the programs.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Either you can take a snapshot of the program and execute later on. Take the snapshot of this program. Because I don't have the WhatsApp group, I can't copy paste.
Sir, again, is there any good batches, sir? Like 5x2, 5x1?
Yes, sir.
Two batches. Those days are gone.
Sir?
In semester 2, you don't have 5x1, 5x2 like that. Here only you will be having A1, A2, F1, F2 like that. Okay, now let us go to the next type. What is the second type? Function with
Function with the return type and without
without parameters. Now let me write the code for that one. So second type, function with return type and without parameters. So let us write here with return type means we have to return something. With return type means we have to return something. So what might be the return value? If you see here, we are taking two integers. So the return type is also an integer value. Now instead of adding, we will write the code for subtraction. Okay. Now I'm going to copy this code and I'm going to write here, instead of writing add, we are going to write sub. And what is the change? We are going to write here a minus okay, a minus b, provided a is greater than b. Okay, provided a is greater than b. So here we are going to write one more printf. So instead of sum, we are going to write sub is equal to, oh, just a second, not write one. Now we are not going to disturb the first add function. So here, instead of printing sum is equal to percentage d a minus b, what you are going to do is you have to return, okay, function with return value. So here you are going to write return. What you need to return? A minus b if a is greater than b. So you are going to write the code if a is greater than b. So now we introduce if condition here. Somebody asked, sir, can we use? Yes. Else return b minus a. If both are same, you are going to get return b minus a only, 0. Okay, don't think about both the values are same. If a is not greater than b means it is same or it is lesser. In that case, you are going to get b minus a. Okay, understood? Now, what is the return value? We are returning a minus b. What is a? Integer. B is integer. So the return value will be a integer. So these are the modifications that we have performed. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Now, we have to write the prototype or the declaration because we are writing the code after main. So you need to write the declaration here, second type, integer sub, then write a semicolon. So this is function declaration of second type. Then inside the main, we need to write call for sub. This is the function call. This is first function call. This is second function call. Okay. Now here the second function call is returning something. We are getting a value, integer value. So what we need to do? We need to print it. So we can write here directly printf percentage d, that is /n sub is equal to percentage d comma sub. Like this you can write in a printf statement. We can also have a function call. Whatever the value is returned will be replaced with this percentage d. This is first aspect. Or you can declare a variable integer c, then you can write c is equal to sub, then you can print the c value. Instead of writing sub here, you can write here c. Understood what we are doing here? This c will be holding the return value. Whatever the value that is returned from the function called as sub. Here we are writing a minus b or b minus a. This particular value will be directly stored inside c. C will be holding the return value. That return value you can print like this, or you can print like this also. Both are correct. So in order to avoid this particular function declaration, function prototype, directly can we write above main? Yes. How to do that? Simply go here and remove this code and replace it. So this particular, so whenever it encounters C is equal to sub, it simply goes above the main. It is going to find whether we have a function called as sub, yes. Whether it is having a return value integer, yes. Here, what is the C's data type? Integer. So there is a match. Integer sub is having a match. Then it is going to create two variables, integer a comma b. Then it is going to ask two values, scan two values. Then a is greater than b, return a is minus b, otherwise return b minus a. Whatever is the value is returned will be stored in C. That value will be printed over here. Okay. So this is how you are going to write the function with return type and without parameters. Any doubt here?
No, sir.
Now let us execute, compile and run. So enter two values, 10 and 20. So we got sum as 30, that is addition part. Now it is asking enter two values. We are going to give 5 and 50. So 5 and 50, what is the result? 50 minus 5, 45 is the result. So we got sub is equal to 45. So our program is working fine. Okay. So if you want to take a snapshot, you can take. Let us do comment for these things. Let us comment and let us execute this single line of code. No variable extra, no variable. So when you don't need integer C also, directly you are calling add function, then you are printing whatever the result is received from sub function. So execute, compile and run. 10, 21, result is 31. Again 10, 20, result is 10. So we got the result again, sub is equal to 10. So there is no issue. Either you can go with the printf a single statement, or you can use another variable and then print the result. It's up to you. Both are correct. So a single printf function is also will be capable of accommodating our requirement. Or if you want to take the return value separately, declare the variable, then accept the value in C, then print the C value. Okay. So next one, what is the next type? Next type of function is function without return type and with parameters. There is no return type, but it is going to accept parameters. So let us see the third one for multiplication. So third one, we are going to make it as a comment. Then we are going to copy the code of add. Now here, instead of writing add, we need to write MUL. So function without return type. If there is without return type, write void here. If it is without return type, simply write void. Then with parameters, if in order to multiply, how many values we require at the minimum? 2 values. So you may be requiring a value called as A, a value called as B. You need to write what is the data type. Integer A, comma, integer B. So we are getting 2 values and you have to multiply those 2 values and print the multiplication. So directly you can write printf MUL is equal to %d, comma, A into B. Nothing you are going to scan, nothing you are going to print again. So only single line of text. So void multiply integer A, comma, integer B. The first value will be copied into A, the second value will be copied into B. So here we can directly write, let me reduce the code, remove the comments here. So we can directly write here MUL of 10, comma, 5. So the result must be 50. So 10 will be copied into A variable and 5 will be copied into B variable. Okay. Then it is going to execute multiplication is equal to A into B, return back to the next statement, that is return 0. Execute, compile and run. Enter 2 values, 10 and 20, it is going to give addition. Then 50 and 20, it is going to give subtraction. Then directly we got multiplication is equal to 50. 10 and 5, 10 into 5, 50 is the result. So multiplication 10 and 5, 50 is the result. Any doubts here? Function without return type and with parameters. And the last one is division is a combination of both return type and parameters. So let us copy the last one. Fourth type. Void. So void, we are going to return something. Let us say float. We are going to return a float, but coming to division, yeah, float. div, then integer a comma integer b. So you have to recollect what happens if the numerator is integer. What is the result? Return a by b. Return a by b, and that is float. We are dividing into float. We are converting into float. So what happens if the numerator is a integer value and denominator is a integer value? If the numerator is integer value, the resultant will be always a integer. The resultant will be always a integer. So better change the input to float. Float a comma float b. You won't get any error. So next one is you need to write again printf. This is function call 3 and this one is function call 4. So here you will be having if, as you are getting a floating point value, you can write f, then if, then you can write here 20.5 by 6.3. So this is fourth one. Now here we are returning a value as well as we are having parameters. 20.5 will be copied into A and 6.3 will be copied into B.
Sir, comma.
Yeah, comma, good, thank you. Comma. Very good. Execute, compile and run. What happened? Conflicting type div 1, div 1, div q. So div q. The problem was div is having some meaning in dev C++. So 10, 20 we got addition, then 20, 30 we got subtraction. If you see here we got multiplication, we got division also. So this is how you are going to write the code of 4 different types. Function with return type, without parameters, function with return type, without parameters, function without return type, with parameters, function with return type and with parameters. So 4 different types for the example. So what is the time now? 2:51. Let us take a break for around 10 minutes and we will join back the class recording. So what we are doing here is we are writing a function. This particular function is going to take 2 inputs, integer a comma integer b, and we are declaring one variable called as integer c, and we are having c is equal to a plus b, means we are performing addition, then we are printing the c value. This is what is happening inside this function. And coming to main function, what we are going to do is, again we are going to declare integer a comma b and print enter two values, scan two values. We are going to read a value and b value. Then we are making a function called a comma b. The compiler is going to cross check above function. Do we have any return value? No return value. So void is matching. Then the name of the function is fun. Here the name of the function is fun match. We are passing two arguments. They are called as actual parameters or arguments. When you receive at the function definition part, they are called as formal parameters or parameters. Formal parameters or parameters. Here in this case, actual parameters or arguments. This is naming convention. Now, if you see here, we are having integer a and integer b. Integer a, integer b, and coming to here also we are having integer a comma b, where we cannot, just a second. Okay, so here we are having integer a comma b. Here also we are having integer a comma integer b. So in other words, this particular function will have separate memory and this particular main will have separate memory. Memory is different. And in other words, these are called as local variables to that particular function called as main. And these integer a comma b comma c are called as local variables to function. These are local variables to main. Okay, local variables to main, and these are called as local variables to function. Integer a, integer b, integer c. What exactly happens whenever you start executing the program? Now let us cross check. What is the first thing that is going to execute? The first thing that is going to get executed is main. So main will be executed first. Then it is going to execute integer a comma b. It is going to execute integer a comma b. So what do you mean by this integer a comma b line? It is going to create two memory locations. It is going to allocate two memory locations called as, first one is a and second one is b. One more box will be created. The name of this box is a and the name of this box is b. So we are creating two memory locations, and this particular memory locations are main related ones. So the memory that is allocated is related to main memory. So main. So this completely is main memory. You are asking what is the next line that is getting executed? The next line that will be executed is printf enter two values. The next two statements that are executed is printf enter two values, and then it is going to execute scanf. So printf and scanf will be executed. So you will be providing two values. Let us say we are providing two values. The value one is 10 and the next value is 20. For example, we have given value as 10 and value b as 20. Then what is the next one? The next one is the function call. The next one is the function call. So what happens here? You are saying fun a comma b. You are saying fun a comma b. Now whenever you say fun a comma b, a function call is made. Now the compiler is going to cross check above the main. Do we have something called as fun a comma b? Yes, there is a match, fun integer a comma b. Now here a separate memory is allocated. Now this separate memory is called as, just a second. Here a separate memory is allocated, and this memory is related to function whose name is fun. So the name of this memory is function related memory. How many variables it have? Integer a, integer b and integer c. So it is having first thing that is integer a, second one is integer b, and it is also having integer c. Three variables are there. So how many boxes will be created? Memory locations will be created? 3. The first name of the memory location is this is one, and this is next one, and this is third one. So 3 memory locations. What are the names? The names are A, the name is B, and the name of this memory location is C. So this memory location A is different and this memory location A is different. Okay, why? The memory that is created is function memory and this one is main related memory, and this one is function related memory. Now, what is the value that you are passing? A, function of A is having value 10. So directly value 10 will be stored in the call called as fun. So here we will be having value 10 in it. Then what about B? The value B, 20. The second value that is passed to the function is B. So here B will be copied into 20. Why it so happened? Because integer A is the first parameter. So A value will be copied into integer A. A value will be copied into first variable, integer A. B value will be copied into the next parameter, integer B. So value 10 is copied into 10 and value 20 is copied into 20. Is there any doubt here? So value 10 will be copied into 10 and value B will be copied into 20. Okay. So next what you are doing, you are writing C is equal to A plus B. The next statement that will be executed is C is equal to A plus B will be executed. Now 10 plus 20, we got 30. So here the resultant is 30 inside C. So C is having now 30. The next statement that will be executed is value, that is C value. So printf sum is equal to %d. This line is going to get printed. Printf sum is equal to %c. So value 30 is printed. So what is the result? Value 30 will be printed. So we are expecting the result to be 30. So 30 is printed. Then what happens? 30 is printed. Then what happens? After printing 30, it encounters something called as a closing flower bracket. It encounters something called as a closing flower bracket. Whenever the closing flower bracket is encountered, the cursor directly jumps to the next statement after the function call. After the function call, the statement jumps. Whenever this function call is executed, whenever this closing parenthesis is executed, this closing parenthesis is executed, the cursor comes to the next statement. By the time it reaches to the next statement, the memory that is allocated to the function will be removed. The memory will be removed or destroyed. The memory will be destroyed. Means what is going to happen now? What is going to happen? So simply it is going to delete this memory from the RAM. Simply that memory is lost. Now whatever the memory is there, A value is 10 and B value is 20. If you change the values also, there won't be any impact on the main memory. Inside the function memory, if you change anything, there won't be any impact on the main memory. That memory is different, this memory is different. Why? Because A, B, C are local variables to the function and A, B are local variables to the main. Though they have same name, the memory locations are different. They will be having different addresses. The memory locations will have different addresses. Any doubts here? Yes? Is there any doubt? Whether the concept is clear? Yeah, then let us stop the class here. You practice these programs and show me the result. If you are having any doubt, you can show me till 4 o'clock. Our class ends at 4:20. Till the time you can show the results. In the next class, we are going to see local variable, global variable, and recursion. Tomorrow, in tomorrow's afternoon session, we are going to study those concepts. Is that clear? I'm stopping recording. Yes.